Quorum.
Here.
Vidar Liram.
Yes?
Nicolacina is absent. Sarah Stevenson. Here. David Blair. Absent.
All right. You've received the agenda I sent out previously. It should be in front of you. Are there any changes or additions to the agenda?
Just one you may want to consider adding. We got some correspondence from the County Conservation
Yep.
District regarding the non-motorized property.
Absolutely. We'll cover that. We'll cover that under new business. Thank you very much.
What was that again?
Pardon?
What was that?
I sent the email to each of you with that information. That it was from Josh Shields.
Oh, yes, yes. I
Okay.
saw that.
Okay, any other changes or additions? Hearing none, we'll go with that one change. Now it's time for citizen public comment. Are there any citizens wishing to make a comment at this time? Hearing none, seeing none, we're going to move on. You have in front of you the minutes from our meeting of May 12th, and the question is, are there any changes or additions to these minutes that are in front of
I
you?
don't have it.
None for me.
Hearing none, we need a motion to accept the minutes from the May 12th meeting.
I make that motion?
Sam Coram, and seconded by Haw. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of accepting the minutes as written, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. I do want to say thank you very much, Jerry, for showing up on the 14th of June. The rest of us are, we need to be here. I was out of town.
Well, you said you were going to be out of town, so.
Yeah, I was out of town and you were,
And several others.
so everybody else, please, let's make an effort. Put it on our calendars, second Monday of the month, especially during the summer, to be here, okay?
I was in Norway, so I couldn't make it back.
Right,
Yeah,
I
you
understand.
said you couldn't make
And you had,
it. And the rest of the folks went down to that big beach party. There was a big beach party that night.
yeah, there'll be one tonight too. No, it's tomorrow night, I'm sorry. Okay, just doing my job as a commission chair, just admonishing everybody to please make the meetings, okay?
Thank you.
All righty. Well, at this time, we're going to move into new business. The first thing on the agenda is upgrade from Tyler on the grant. What's going on? All the doors are locked to get in. Can somebody go let David in? No. Tyler, you go ahead.
They should be unlocked.
Oh, well,
Just open it in case there's
I
public
think
entities
Roger
come in.
was her first time locking up, and I told her to leave it open. Yeah.
Katie, thank you. Oh, my. Tyler, how you doing?
Not too bad. Do you want me to wait for Dave?
No, it's all right. Go ahead and start.
I don't really have anything, unfortunately. So according to our contract with Great Lakes Urban Forestry, essentially our first deliverable was 50% completion of the inventory, and we had a span of July, August. So hard deadline was end of August for 50% inventory completion. I emailed Phil last week because I hadn't heard anything from him looking for an update. And Leslie, who is the coordinator for Great Lakes, was out. He said, Leslie's out, but I believe we're looking at a mid-August start for the inventory. So he said Leslie would confirm when she gets back. And I just followed up stating that end of August was our target for 50% completion, and I have not heard back from either of them, and I've even tried calling. So I don't have anything there to report at this meeting. Hopefully, once things start moving, they'll fall quickly into place. The other kind of negative news, I might have mentioned before about the Tour de Trees, the cycle event. maybe I didn't. So essentially there is a Tour de Trees group that is a fundraising group for a tree fund for tree research. It's an international group and they travel all around the world and do these bicycle trips. And this year is scheduled for Michigan. They're cycling from Grand Rapids to Traverse City through Manistee and back. And we have been talking with the coordinators there to talk about the city of Manistee and the grant that we're pursuing. And I had a plan, but sounds like it might not be a plan, so I'm still working on that. But the idea would be to have Great Lakes Urban Forestry there as cyclists come through. I would be there just kind of talking about things. And then if it does end up, if we get a hard date, because we were going back and forth of which day they'd be here, because Manistee is there overnight and when they want to do the presentation, but I'd love to have a tree commission member present too. Right now they're looking at Ludington and Onekama instead for things. So I'll see if anything comes of that and be sure to update you guys. But that's really all of the updates that I have on the grant. Outside of that, there is a conservation district update. So our executive director is out on extended leave. She's been out since April, so I am also the interim director while she's out. So I am also doing 2 jobs. So we should be able to keep this straight, but I am a little bit more busy. Hence why I did not partake in any of Josh's visit with, what's the gentleman's name?
With,
Yeah,
right
on the
right
property.
Non-motorized trail area.
Yep. But if you guys have questions on that, I might be able to answer things, so.
Tyler, the one question I have, somebody's asked me, is in this grant, we're gonna do 100% of the city?
So 100% of the city will be inventoried.
Yeah.
We do kind of have a cap just based on budget. So essentially, we have a budget of $65,000 for this first phase of the project. And the way their cost per tree to inventory is $5.25 a tree. So we kind of broke out the plan, the inventory, the database setup. They're all separate line items. And if we go above and beyond our estimated tree count, which was somewhere between 6,000 and 8,000 trees, we'll have to kind of scale back if we want everything else. So their focus for Great Lakes is to start with the priority areas of the city. So it might get to a point on the outskirts of what is city proper that we just don't, there's too many trees, we, underestimated, and we don't have the money to include those in the inventory. But realistically, the inventory should cover, 7,000 trees.
So that's something I think that we all on this commission need to be aware that, and where should we prioritize? Okay, yes, quite obviously, we got this grant because of Maxwell Town and because of the north side.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the focus. But once they've got that done, then my personal feeling is we should be focused on, our streetscape, okay, versus parklands.
Yeah, okay.
This city has, what, over 180 acres of park, Jeff?
Triple that.
Okay. It's ridiculous amount of park.
It's a lot of park. There's probably 180 acres in the city itself.
Yeah.
Plus we've got all the property
Yeah.
outside the
And
city.
we're not going to do the property like the
Yeah.
Right.
trail area and all that. We're just not.
Yeah.
I hope everybody's okay with that.
We've
got to focus on-
Absolutely.
And that was my initial thought too, would be to prioritize the areas, because that is where the inventory can cover the entire city. The grant will pay for that. What the inventory, or what the grant will not pay for, is tree plantings, prunings, or removals outside of those disadvantaged areas. So for the inventory, we should follow the same procedure, that those take priority, And, you know, we get those done first, and then, yeah, the street trees would be, the next priority, then parks after that.
I just want to make sure, you know,
I'll make sure to make a
you're all
note and,
right on the same
Yep.
level, okay? On the
Right.
same sheet of music.
Yes.
I
Yes,
have got a
Jerry.
so the grant has gone through.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we got the grant.
yep,
Okay, it's just, we got some delays now that you're talking about. Okay.
yeah, it's just the contract, working with the contractors now to,
So the grant schedule is basically gonna kind of follow the contract that was handed out?
yeah, so that contract
Okay, good.
is just for phase one. So then phase two and phase three, which will be pruning and removals, and then tree planting will be separate contracts, and they'll have their own timeline. And that phase two will probably overlap with that contract a little bit, because I'm hoping to get started with some of the pruning efforts and removals this fall. And then, so we should have enough data from the inventory that we can find another contractor. It's just the process of getting the RFPs out, getting people interested, and then actually formalizing an agreement with them.
Along those lines, the other thing, the database setup and integration, does the information on the tree inventory itself integrate with the city's GIS system?
Yes. Yep, so it'll be the same database system. It'll just be a different hosted feature layer within that. And it will be the same access, everything, you'll just have a different layer that you go to than the historical inventory.
Piece out here that we, you know, it's all integrated. that's-
Yep, it's all integrated, yep.
The other issue is, when you talk about removal and trimming,
Yep,
okay? That historically has been done by by the DPW, so the coordination has to be there, right, Jeff? I really don't want any problems with your staff, you know, feeling that we're usurping, you know, their work. And so I would, you know, just strongly suggest that
yeah,
there's that communication. You don't have to come through us for that. You gotta go
okay,
right directly to Jeff, in my opinion.
yeah, and Jeff, maybe you and I can talk more,
Yeah, we'll work that through.
okay.
Okay? Other than that, really, Tyler, that's fantastic. And again, I know you're busy with a lot of great stuff going on, you know, that the Conservation District is doing, and really appreciate what you're doing here. And we just, you know, we're kind of at the mercy of the contractor right now. And
Yeah, and I realistically, from the people I've talked to, including our grant administrator who used to do inventories, she was kind of shocked at my initial timeline because she was surprised that it would take that long to inventory 6,500 trees. So maybe the late start isn't an issue. It's a scheduling conflict right now. That's as soon as they can get here, and maybe they'll be done in 2 weeks. I don't really know, so.
understood.
Yeah, we'll figure it out, but.
Are there any other questions for Tyler?
Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you. Tyler, you might be interested to hear now, I'm going to talk about the Northside and Maxwelltown Neighborhood Advisory Groups. That's part of the,
Yeah, I'll probably stay for that, and then I'm gonna take.
yeah, that's fine. I've been in contact, I copied each of you. I hope you're getting the emails. Is everybody getting emails from me?
Yep.
Okay. So I got in contact with Shane Machen, who is the county commission person from Maxwelltown. And she responded back to me very quickly, and I thought very professionally, and she's working on getting a neighborhood advisory group together of 3 to 5 people to, again, sit down with us and, you know, determine, once we have the inventory and the risk assessment done and all this, we can share that information and all this. So it's just starting at that. Some of the questions she had is how often do they meet, and I responded back to her, I would say less than once a month. Okay, I can't imagine having, you know, a group get together more often. And basically we want them to be the eyes and ears, you know, of this commission in the neighborhood. That's the thing I'm talking about. So she got back to me very quickly. Then the other person I sent to was Tim Smith, who is a city council member responsible for the north side. I have not heard a peep from him yet. My follow-up will be tomorrow with him, okay? But I will bug the crap out of him too. And we'll make sure that we get somebody on the north side too. And I'll threaten him that if he doesn't take action, I'll get Ginny Pelton involved. And Lord knows that'll happen. But, so bottom line is, we're putting that together. That's an important part of this grant, in my opinion, and our outreach to the public, okay?
So just along that point, I also have the engineers are still working on a map that will code the width of the right-of-ways. Particularly the north side has irregular and a normal right-of-way is 66 feet. Most of the city conforms to that, but the north side has a lot of really tight corridors, which limits the ability to have the streets meet the geometric requirements and have sidewalks and trees, so, but that's still in progress.
Yeah, that's been an interesting part. David, didn't you have a question about, is this tree on city property?
Oh, yeah. Where do you find that information? Is there like an online system or, no? It's all paper maps or?
I've got most of the plats I've had scanned in, and we can find that in our GIS. And then they're overlaid on aerials, but the only way to be 100% certain is to survey it. But we get calls all the time on, is this yours or is it ours? If you have those questions, you can call our office and we can try to look at it.
Okay.
And at least if we can find the plat, we can say it's only a 50-foot right of way. If you go to the center, measure out 25, it gives you a approximate.
So there's not necessarily a number. You mentioned 66, you mentioned 50. It's kind of up to what exists today.
Well,
Right.
the streets are platted, so when they were laid out and designed and recorded, that's a limitation of ownership between what's public and what's private.
Yep.
The only, and I used to manage a surveying engineering firm for 20 years, the only way you can legally know for sure is to have it surveyed. We can give in, when you look at aerials and you look at plats, you can get within feet, but it's not 100% precise. And a lot of them that we're able to answer is it's definitely in the yard, or it's definitely in the right of way, or if it's on the line, we'll recommend to have it surveyed.
As Mark mentioned, there was a question on what trees were on whose property and so on a place that had a request in over on Fifth Avenue. So I went back to Katie there, and she pulled it up and pieced it together and made a copy of what it was. And it was close enough to easily tell whose tree was whose and so on.
And I'm going to restate this. In our GIS, we have aerial imagery that we paid our engineers to fly with a drone, so it's very, very accurate and very good resolution. What's overlaid on that in GIS is the county parcel map. The county parcel map is not 100% accurate, and it is not survey grade. A plat is the basis of a survey, and so we also have plats laid over the aerial imagery, but that's still not survey grade. So there's different layers. If Katie's able to pull that up and you can see the yellow lines over the aerial and it's like, that's 10 feet away, no problem. I'm just trying to educate and caution, if it gets close, we need to look at fine tuning that and, you know what I'm saying?
So you said the average road is 50 feet, 25 one way, 25 there, or it
No.
varies depending on where you're at?
The typical right-of-way is 66 feet.
Oh, 66.
But on the north side, there are some platted streets that are 40 foot, some are 50 foot. They vary. And that's why when the county started working on this project, I suggested or even offered that we get a map together so that strategically we can help. Because a lot of times what happens when I've upgraded streets on the north side and we've got narrow right-of-ways, you've got to make some choices. So the number one thing is I've got to make the street meet minor street standards. That's 24 feet. When we upgraded like Hughes Street, I think that's only at 20 feet even after we upgraded it because we could not fit the sidewalks, utility poles and everything within that right of way and make it work. And we had to do a lot of tree removals just to do that. So we just need to factor in those items and find the balance.
Okay? Again, thank you. Any other questions about the neighborhood advisory groups or anything on the DNR grant? Hearing nothing. Tyler, thank you again for all you're doing. Let's move on next to the Consumer Energy, our 2025 grant. Vader, you did some great work on that. I know at the last meeting, the suggestion was put it in the, put these 15 trees in the beautiful disc golf area, but we can't do it in parks.
Yeah, and I apologize for the confusion, because I should have caught that earlier, but it didn't occur to me until I suddenly got a thought one day, and I called the person who is in charge or is administering the grant. So it became clear we could not use this grant to plant at the disc golf course. So therefore, we now have an application where we suggest to plant 15 trees on both sides of 8th Street, east of US 31.
Okay. So that's again, that's the Maxwell Town neighborhood.
Yeah, so
So in that
I
area.
worded that as a continuation of what we did
Yeah.
last year with the same,
So that goes down High Road or High Park or where we have the Painted Lady.
Yeah.
On that, it goes down 8th, and what's the road right there in front of the Painted
well,
Lady?
these 15
Kosciuszko.
will be
Yeah, okay, there you go.
from Seminary.
31.
31, right.
31.
Okay, and then down the hill.
Just about where it starts going down.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is a pretty, there's no canopies there, that's for sure.
No.
So again, the goal would be to make 8th Street a tree-lined street all the way from Cherry
Yep.
to the industrial properties eventually.
Okay. And so are we ready to submit this grant?
Jeff, you have had a chance to review it, and are you okay with submitting it?
I'm okay with the way it's written up. I'm concerned with the way we're doing this, honestly. We did the project last year, and I've always advocated that our tree planting program is successful because we have people requesting, and when they're requesting, they're paying a little bit of money, they're invested, and they tend to take care of them more. With this, we're selecting species and selecting locations that don't have the input of the residents. And I don't know if anybody's noticed, but when we put the watering bags out this spring, our staff filled them the first time. I believe you guys went door to door, put the flyers out. I haven't seen them filled since. I don't know if anybody else has noticed that.
I agree with you.
I just got my tree last week or the week before, and nobody in my neighborhood had the bags filled up. So I don't know if that was an oversight or if the procedure is they come later to fill them up.
No, that's homeowner responsibility.
Right.
That, I'm not sure that's clear because my neighbors didn't understand that. And luckily my next door neighbor had already gone through the program and showed us how to find that little slot on the side. But I mean, maybe we're just idiots, but it wasn't, immediately clear what you're supposed to do. Maybe, like this door hanger we're planning on putting out, maybe everyone who gets a tree should get something like that, just so they know the minimum you're supposed to do to, because my neighbor thought the city was going to fill it up with water, and she thought she wasn't supposed to put water in it. So there seemed to be some confusion about it, at least on my block, my neighborhood.
But Jeff, the tree I had planted for my neighbor, there was no water left in the bag when they left. There was no water put in the bag.
No, and we can't, how are the planners gonna put water in there?
I didn't know they were supposed to.
No, they're not. They're-
Okay, that's good, okay. then-
But that's what
The-
I'm
they-
saying is
the-
it's
the
not
contract-
clear.
The program and the contract is
Just put the bag there.
to plant the tree, stake it, and provide the watering bag.
They do, and they do a good job doing that.
Yeah,
Which they just did
Beautiful
I think it was last week, they just planted them all. So my point back to the grant, it's not a lot of money. I mean, it's not a lot of expense for us, but I think in the future, it would be better, I believe, to engage the residents in that corridor and say, we've got an opportunity. If we get a grant or if we submit a grant, we're able to provide this at no cost and get people to buy in a little bit. And I'd like to see how last year, and if we do it again this year, how well those trees survive and just if that's successful. So I'm not saying don't proceed forward, but I think we should put some thought into that and get some engagement in the future.
So we get the grant, okay, this grant. Before we put a tree in there, we go to the neighborhood and say, we go house to house.
Well, I know, but the way that VIDAR and the commission submittal has been successful is that you show addresses and locations and species. So it's kind of a chicken or the egg thing.
Oh, look, but my suggestion is before we break ground.
Yeah, we certainly can
everybody would
educate.
say, will you put one in your front yard?
And what happened last year, we had to make a couple adjustments, and we just simply submitted that to the grant coordinator, and they approved that. So, if somebody just completely objected, we could make some changes.
So I think you're making a very good point, and that is something that I should have done, or we should have done to maybe engage. So I take that.
Well, but even if we submit this year, right, we know this grant's available every year.
Yeah,
And so we were awarded last year. If we're awarded this year, the next time we submit can build upon that and show the successes, show the progression of how we're we did the flyers, we did the hangers, we did the door-to-door, we did education, now we're getting involvement. Like, we could start this process for the next section of the corridor for next year. So the next year when we submit, we've got a list of people that are ready and wanting and willing, and that's just my suggestion.
Do the trees have to be in one area, or can they be scattered throughout the city? Like,
They have to be specifically
Right.
where the grant is.
right, but I mean, if we got people who want trees who otherwise couldn't pay the $50 or whatever to get
that-
one,
that's-
could we
that's a
get a
different
list
program,
of,
David.
oh, okay,
David, that's a different program. That is what's online right now.
right,
You can sign up for a tree
And put it in
anytime,
places.
you can put it anywhere on city
Right,
property,
yeah, no, I
on your
under-
house.
yeah, I understand that. What I'm asking though, this other one, can they just be put in different spots if the people want them and you have that address ahead of time for the grant?
Potentially.
Well, as long as it's in the city property in front of the home.
So we could have a list of people committed to accepting one of these trees ahead of time, and it might be someone who wouldn't otherwise get a tree because they couldn't afford it or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's a possibility. Certainly, I think the way that you've proceeded with last year's and the way that the application's put together this year just makes it more compelling because you're trying to forest some open corridors. So it's very cohesive and it's targeted to an area. But I don't think it would exclude adding
Having them
Sites
in
other
different
places,
places.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think what we've got right now, where Biddar's got it set up, and he's got some homes and residents set up and so on, well, we might want to go ahead and commit ourselves for a walk down that street and tap on each of those homes and say, hey, we've got this program going, we're gonna plant a tree out in front of your house there, would you be willing to take care of it if we plant it there? And if they said, God, no, then we go ahead and see if there's another spot that Biddar can pick up to go forward. And I would be willing to be one of the, take a walk for the afternoon, you know?
Well, we tried that, and when we went down 8th Street, we found maybe one person that we could talk with,
Right.
you know?
Well,
And then that would be the value of the door hanger slash the literature that should leave. And that, we're gonna talk about that.
Which we did.
which we did.
We left literature.
Yeah, I mean, if you have rentals, if you have vacation homes, they're just not as accessible or interested. The people who are interested, for $50,
Yeah.
plant trees in front of their house, you know?
Yes, yeah.
Now I think it's 75. We moved it to 75 based after July 1st.
But what we're talking about here also will apply to the DNR grant.
Right. That's the
We're gonna-
DNR grant is why we have to have the new neighborhood advisory. group.
Right, so once we have the neighborhood advisory groups, going forward, say, next time we do, if we do an application, and stuff, we can work with these neighborhood
Yeah,
advisory.
absolutely, that's
Or
great.
if we're looking at we could look at another place, other side of the town,
But I-
but we would figure out how to find the right people to engage with.
Well, when the conservation district's done with that project, you're gonna have a ton of data and justification to apply for these grants. That'll be easy, I think.
I'd love to see it, the vision I have for the future with this, if it's available every year. I'd love to see 15, trees in the inventory ready to go,
Right,
that we don't have to pay for.
We-
The city doesn't
right.
have to pay for.
right.
And people can, select them. We just, and again, I don't think the granting organization, Consumers Energy, is not gonna come back and say, wait a minute, you told me you're gonna plant 12 red maples or sugar maple, you only planted 11, and you planted a flowering crab over here. No, they don't care about that. I
Well,
can't imagine.
We just implemented recycling in the city.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a legislative mandate. We're ahead of that, but we have to do that. There are a tremendous amount of people in this community that are excited and are participating in that, and it's wonderful. Then there's people that are like, not interested.
Right.
And thanks for dropping off a cart in my front yard. It's still sitting in my front yard after 3 weeks. To me, the willing people, let's help them achieve their goals. And the people that are not interested, let's not force feed it and then end up with dead trees,
Right.
That's, I guess, my overall point.
Amen.
Because yes, you will end up with dead trees.
Yeah.
Our trees are.
Well, there's just a greater chance when you care for them.
Right.
And just fill them with water. The only ones that the city's filling are the ones that we planted in along Cherry Street, and then the new one that we replaced at Morton Park.
Is there a watering bag that can catch rain?
No.
Why not?
It hasn't been developed yet. I think that's
Okay.
something for you.
Good idea.
I think they call that the Blair catchment system.
There's an umbrella that pops out when it starts raining, brings it right into the,
And then also, just, oh, never mind.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm done. I'll bring it up later.
All right, very good. So we're going to submit this grant is going in on time, and, right, Jeff, it's in your hands, is that my understanding?
I think we have to have it signed and submitted by the end of this week.
Yeah.
Yep.
Friday.
Do they need a motion?
We're good?
Are you gonna take a motion to proceed with that grant application?
Motion to move forward to submit this grant to the Consumers Energy.
Make that motion.
Sam, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, I'm going to say Sarah got in there first. Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
So I'm off on Friday, so I'll have to get that together before Thursday to get it submitted.
Okay, I sent you Josh Shields' overview of the motorized, non-motorized trail area. If you guys remember, we had, I see his face too, and I know who, my Rolodex is going around in my head, but there was a gentleman here talked about that to us earlier this year. I think it was back in March. And so Josh went out and did that work. That's city-owned property outside the city limits. Great work on Josh's part, you know, as all of Josh's work. Is there any questions, or anybody see anything in that jumped out at you as something key and critical that we need to discuss right now?
I have a few thoughts.
Yeah.
First of all, I thought that issue had been put to rest because this commission had not voted to support
Right.
clearing that width. So I was a little bit surprised that there was behind the scenes engagement with the county to do that evaluation. But based on the information that you sent, John, I got some help internally, but went back and researched what the city has done with forestry management of the properties out there. And in 1985, the city engaged with Manistee to do not a full forestry management plan, but they did kind of an inventory and they came up with recommendations. And then in 2010, the city did a timber harvest of that land. Same thing occurred in 2016, and the recommendation at that time, and I just got these documents this morning, so I just skimmed them. But in 2016, the same thing was done. There was some select timber harvested, and in the city, it's basically managing that asset. And then there's a little bit of income that came to the city. But the last recommendation from Manistee was to look at another forestry or another tree cutting thinning round in between 2025 and 2030. So we're just kind of at the early stages of that, which I think in the next year or two we should probably have it re-inventoried professionally and look at it from a financial aspect, and that's something that we could budget for next year. So I just wanted to get a little history because one of Josh's recommendations was to have a forestry management plan put together.
So what happens in that case, my understanding would be, somebody comes in and cruises the timber. That's what it's, they cruise the timber.
Yes.
And the way that's paid for is they get a cut of the.
They get a percentage of the harvest, yep.
Okay. And so it doesn't cost the city money per se. And there's typically not much revenue coming to the city on that, given, what unless they have a huge harvest.
Well, in 1985, I actually have the bids. The city received $51,000 from timber sales. 24 years later, in 2016, when that was done, it was less than $10,000. So obviously, the longer you let it grow, the more value there is. So now we're about 16 years from the last one, and so we're getting into that 16 to 21 year range where there could be some value.
Yeah.
But what I quickly skimmed out of this was that the soils and the type of trees that are growing there will never be high-end wood products. It'll be kind of lower end wood grade and pallet wood and so forth, but there is revenue.
Yeah.
And it manages the asset.
That's good because, we don't want to necessarily get the city committed to spending money on it.
Well, and what entered my mind was, if the community needs to manage that and we need to thin that out and do a harvest, to me, that's the perfect time to then take that corridor, the trail corridor, and roll that in to make it what you want.
Sure.
Do you know what I'm saying? Certainly if we went out there and we cut 20 foot back on either side of the trail, it probably washes. I mean, it may cost a little bit, but I don't think it would be that expensive because you have to pay somebody to do it, but then there's value in the timber they're removing. If you do it as an overall management of the entire property, then there's no net cost to that.
And I would assume that that property falls under our Parks Commission, really?
It does. Well, I think it crosses. I think the timber aspect certainly,
Obviously, the vegetation is ours in the parks, yes, but the overall management of the facility, of the property should fall under the Parks Commission.
well, it falls under the Public Works. And then,
Yeah.
and then the Parks Commission is advisory.
I mean, that's just like we're advisory to you too.
Yeah.
So, okay.
I was just reading this out that you sent out to us, John, and reading through it, to me, it sounds like there's not really a lot of value that could be harvested from that stand out there right now. It sounds more reasonable to let it move out further, to get more growth out there.
Well, they only looked at a certain part of the whole thing. There's still 173 acres that.
I know, but my point is, in order to come in there and get enough value to go ahead and clean out that 5 to 25 feet around the trail, you've got to go ahead and manage the whole area and harvest the whole area as you're going to manage it and harvest it there to get your funds out there to cover the cost of this a little bit. Because going in there just to cover 5 feet wide or 25 feet wide is going to cost you money. You're not going to do a break even or make a few bucks.
Yeah, that was my suggestion.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, so you're gonna have to do the whole thing to manage the whole thing, and I'm, like Josh says here, get a management type deal, study again, and do it down the road, because it sure doesn't look like what he's estimating, there's enough in there to do it right now.
I'll have Katie forward you all this correspondence so that you've got the background on it.
Okay, well, again, Josh did great work, and
Right.
my thought on this going forward, though, really should be directed with the Parks Commission. And that's going to get in, David, what we're going to talk about later on collaboration with the Parks Commission. So is there anything else about this report that you'd like to have for discussion at this time? Hearing nothing, let's move on to old business. The 8th Street watering brochure and water bag distribution, you know, we're hearing about it. I went down on 8th Street, spent some time looking there. I'm really disappointed because even water bags aren't there. They've disappeared.
Oh, wait a minute, they are there.
A lot of them are, they're real,
They're
Yeah,
flat.
okay.
based on the type, the ornamental trees that are planted there, they're a different type of bag. So they're real flat to the
I
ground.
see, okay, I
There's
missed that.
evidence
Yeah.
they've never been used, or never been filled. 'Cause
Once.
So we knocked on
We
the
filled them
doors,
once.
and
Okay.
Yes.
We didn't talk to many people, but we
Right.
did leave literature, is that correct?
Yes.
I apologize, I wasn't able to.
Yes, we did that.
Sam and I walked down the whole
It
street.
needs to
both
be done
sides.
again.
Knocked on the doors, left a brochure.
Yep, so Sarah, you got something that you just distributed to each of us, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure, it was something we discussed in May. We wanted to add a blurb about upcycling the bags because they are nice and hardy. So I just tweaked the existing text that you sent me. Was that something that's already been handed out in the past?
Yeah, we did.
There was a card, yes.
Okay,
Fire, yes.
so I just
we
tweaked
can do
that
it
a
again.
little tiny bit and then added a paragraph about residents returning the watering bags to save money and keep the program affordable. And also, again, I feel like an idiot, but my neighbors were all confused as well, so it's not just me. It's not immediately clear how you fill the bags, what you're supposed to do with the bags. My neighbor claimed that he flagged down a DPW truck and the truck said, no, we're gonna come around and fill it up with water, don't worry about it. I don't know if he made that up or what, but would it be cumbersome for your crew?
Help.
Would it be cumbersome for your crew to just drop a flyer whenever we plant a tree as part of not only this Maxwell Town program, but just the regular 75, just a one pager? Put it in the people's mailbox or whatever?
Well, I think we could mail something.
Or, yeah, just something, because people on my block were very confused.
I've never had that concern before, but certainly we could
Like I
do
said,
it.
maybe we're all idiots, but I didn't understand that you were, I didn't know if the water went in the top, and then my neighbor said, no, there's this little slot on the side, which is why I put a sentence about that there. But anyway, it's something to consider for the future.
So, number one, it's in our, when you go online and order your tree that you want, pay now $75 for, it says very clearly there, the water bag, and it's your responsibility as the homeowner or as the person who has just ordered this tree to keep the water there. The one thing I'd suggest is those bags really need to be there for 2 years. They need to be, during the growing season. They should be, filled at least once a week. So we need to maybe do a little bit more detail. Sarah, let me assure you, the first time I tried to fill a bag, I screwed up royally.
I did,
I put it in the wrong place. Okay?
yeah,
I've done that before.
You got your feet wet,
But
didn't
I
you, John?
figured it out.
right.
You got your feet wet, didn't you?
Yeah, and I figured it out. I don't have an advanced engineering degree.
No, I know, and people will figure it out, but I'm saying, I just, if it's not super cumbersome, it seems like we could just drop the flyer as we're planting the trees, so people know what their responsibility is, and, like
I think-
like Jeff said, we don't wanna plant these nice trees only to have them die.
So, maybe one of the ways to do it is when you apply to get a tree, we have your mailing address. And so maybe we could automatically send a detailed letter.
How to care for your tree.
Just,
Seriously,
yeah, just
how to
one
get-
page.
How to water your tree.
We could probably add it to the form.
Because people,
Hey,
the,
remember the things we handed out?
Yeah.
I kind of like, and maybe with your help, we could draft that, but we could start with what you did in Maxwell Town and basically say, thank you for purchasing as soon as the contractor plants them, right? So Anthony's planted them last week. This week, let's send a mailer to everybody who bought a tree and say, your tree's been planted, a watering bag has been provided. We could maybe have a little diagram that shows where to put the water in, or a link to a video that shows it, or something like that, a recommendation on how often to water it. The tree has a much better chance if you keep that bag full for 2 years.
yep,
After you're done with the bag, then we could
Turn it in.
link in that you're welcome to return it and keep the cost of the program.
that's all I'm saying,
affordable. And
that's all I'm saying.
I mean, I think that would be an easy connection back to the resident.
I guess what I'm thinking about, right now, this is fine for down the road, but do we have to do something right now to make sure the trees that have been planted continue growing? Should we try to do a recovery program for the ones that are there right now?
Yeah, they've only been in the ground for a week.
I know, but we still
So
have time.
we've got the addresses. We can get a letter out.
If we can get something put together, then I would do it for this year's, just
Right.
because.
I'm happy to
Else we can
put it
take a
together.
walk to each of these places and, touch base with them.
Well, I mean, we could simply,
Let's mail it.
we can mail them.
Okay, that's.
Because my guys aren't planting them, so they're
Right,
not gonna
right,
put them in the
right,
door.
right.
And I don't wanna put that on the contractor. But we
Okay.
could follow up with a mailing pretty easy.
Okay,
So Sarah, would you be willing to just work up a letter
yep,
and then get that to Katie as soon as possible?
yep,
And it can just be short and sweet.
Yep.
Just those bullet points, and then we can kinda evolve it and add to it if we need to in the future, but it gets a good start out.
Let's
Okay.
get that going with water, and Katie, you and Sarah work together, and if there's some changes, you don't have to come to the whole commission with this, okay? Peter?
The idea of a video, I thought was a really good idea.
I
Maybe we
wrote
can
it
find-
down.
Maybe we can find one on.
I'll look
but if
online.
not, we can make one.
I think it'd be more fun if I videotaped you guys filling a bag, and John could show us how to do it wrong, and then Sarah could do it right.
I bet the manufacturer of those watering bags has a video.
Yeah, if we could find a link that like that or something, we can just post. We could put that on the website. We could put a little something on the flyer.
Yeah, a link on the flyer.
yeah,
You could
yep,
look that up.
yep, no problem.
Okay.
It's amazing what we can do nowadays with Google,
Sure.
okay? Sarah, thank you for this. This is great.
Yep.
Okay. Next is David. At the last at the meeting we had back in May, I asked you to start collaborating with the Parks Commission. You got a report for us?
I don't have anything new. I didn't make it to that meeting that was after that, but they do have one this Thursday at 7 I'm going to go to. Did you get a chance when you went that
Yeah,
one meeting? Okay.
Yeah, David reached out to me and said he wasn't going to be able to make it, so I brought up the topic with the Parks Commission. They're very interested in collaborating, and so in following that, in several meetings with MDOT, I brought it up to MDOT, and MDOT said, just tell us what you want and where, and they said that the state would pay for it.
Wow.
So, and interestingly enough, I travel a lot of the streets in the city, but I don't think there is a tree in the US 31 right-of-way in the city limits. I don't think there's one tree. But
You're right,
There's no room for it.
right.
True.
there currently is no room for it. And so when the highway goes from 4 lanes to a 3-lane road diet, it's gonna add 3 to 5 feet of green space on either side. So there is some opportunity. And there's other utility conflicts, but, so I'm happy to work with that committee. But I think that effort should start now.
Yeah.
Because that construction the bids will be let out in the December of 2026. So it sounds like quite a bit of time yet, but it's coming up fast.
So I would suggest that we work with this, David,
Yep.
when you collaborate with them, tell them, we've got this DNR grant, the big DNR grant, we're gonna be inventorying trees. We'd just be interested, we wanna make sure that the Parks Commission feels they have input as to the species selections, things like that, as we have this opportunity to improve, the travel through the main route through Manistee.
Yeah, and also, MDOT is going to hold the second public meeting for the 31 reconstruction. It'll be Tuesday, August 5th at 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. And it'll be held at the Community College building downtown. So I encourage you guys to attend that and get interested. Some of the things that are happening is the state, the city, and Filer and Manistee Township all submitted on what's called a TAP grant, Transportation Alternative Program. And it really is to enhance non-motorized modes of function of transportation. So specifically, that's going to pay for new sidewalks almost along the entire corridor and almost on both sides most of the way. It also will pay for lighting that is targeted for pedestrian lighting, and then several other aspects. And then the state has also got grants for a carbon reduction grant that they're using for specific crossing points along the corridor, where there'll be kind of protected islands so that you only have to cross one lane of traffic, then you're in a safe zone, then you can cross the other half. So there's a lot of elements that are being added to this. The last 2 meetings that I went to, they plotted out what the townships wanted to do, and they are doing very heavy decorative lighting in the townships. The city, we have submitted and are getting approval for decorative lighting similar to what's on River Street, where we've got the Victorian acorn style. But that goes from First Street, both sides, down to the river, and then on one side across the river until it gets to Harrison, the first major street. So, there's areas like that trees may be appropriate, may not be. There's other areas where there's probably opportunities and could be. And then we've also talked with the Conservation District and talked with the MDOT engineers about, we want to know what trees are going to be hardy with salt along the highway. We want to know which ones are going to be best with overhead utilities above them, which ones are best so that they don't, the canopy doesn't grow out into traffic where we have conflicts with trucks and bigger vehicles and stuff. So, so there's an opportunity there. We can get it done without cost, and the Parks Commission was interested.
Great.
Good.
What time is this meeting now?
The one on August 5th is at 4 p.m.,
Okay.
4 to 6?
4 to 6.
Okay.
You said that was at the college building?
Yes, downtown.
Okay.
Downtown.
Okay, and well, it'd be great, I will not be here, I'm in Wisconsin that week, but you guys, if you can go, if you can make it, please do. And how about reporting back then, you know, in our meeting in August? Okay?
What was
David,
it?
anything else that you,
No, I'll be going to this next meeting and,
Super.
get some more information for,
invite them to our meetings too.
Okay,
Invite them,
yeah.
To have, you know, your liaison to them.
Sure.
I would hope they'd have somebody liaison with, to these meetings.
That sounds good, yeah. Well, and what did you call that, what's going on August 5th? Is there a header or? what?
It's the MDOT US 31 Reconstruction Public Engagement Meeting,
Okay,
number 2.
MDOT Public
The-
Engagement number 2, perfect.
Wait,
Thank
I
you.
believe that's it. The college, I'm gonna double check that.
Okay. Anything else, on the old business, you don't have any, we're done?
I'm sorry, I have to make a change. It's not at the college. I thought I'd better double check. It's at the Manistee High School in the Commons area.
Oh, okay.
Okay, perfect.
I apologize for that.
Thank you, at the high school.
It's at the high school. That's where they had the first one.
Okay. All right, it's time now for comments. Just a couple things I want to say. Jeff, please pass on to your crew, especially the crews that are doing the tree removals, my appreciation. I've had several citizens come up to me and thank me for the great job your crew did. Safety, top of the line. You know, interaction with the homeowners, top of the line. They're representing the city very well, and
Thank you.
You can pass that on. The other question I've got is, because this comes up, with our current contract with the new trees, if a new tree dies, is there a replacement thing in the contract at all?
There's no warranty.
No warranty, okay. I told folks, I said, I don't think there is.
Probably about 6-7 years ago, the last time we requested a warranty and we couldn't get bids.
Yeah,
And so when residents ask us about that when they're ordering, we just explain, look, you're getting a $400 tree for $50. There is some risk in that, but that's why we're providing the bags and we're gonna
Yeah.
do some educating, yeah. But there's no guarantee on it.
okay. Well, the good news is, you know, most of them are thriving, you know, but a couple, you know, we got one on 4th Street, he's to be removed, not 4th Street, on Cedar. That didn't take, so. All right, David, let's start with you down there. You got anything you'd like to share with the commission?
I don't, no, not right now.
Sam?
It's just, I enjoy working with Veeder on the, you know, helping him. I mean, he is the one that's done all the work. I'm there just in some sort of support fashion with him. But it was fun, you know, to see where these trees are gonna go. I appreciate all your work that you've done on this, Veeder.
Absolutely. Jerry?
I'm just a little confused. Where did we leave the non-motorized
No action.
discussion?
No action.
No action.
No
Okay.
action.
No action, okay.
Okay, anything else?
That's it.
Peter?
Yeah, I thought the input from Jeff on how we should prepare better for the applications for the grants was good. So we'll try to have that in mind. And again, Sam and I had a good time going out there and put on cones and take photographs. But next time we'll engage the homeowners too.
Yes.
And Sarah?
No comments.
All righty.
I have one item if you don't
Yes,
mind.
absolutely.
If you remember on Fort Street, we had a request for a tree removal, and we found that it was a tree of heaven. So we've contracted, that tree was injected quite some time ago. It's, what I was informed by Mr. Scarlotta was that the tree will start to stress and it will drop its leaves. It will try to re-sprout its leaves this summer. And then as it's doing that, it's trying to draw up all the energy, and the rest of the poison will go through the tree, and then it will not successfully leaf out, and then it'll be safe to take out. We also had, once we learned of that, or about the same time we learned of that one, the state of Michigan inspected our compost operation off of Adamczyk Road and found that there were several small tree of heaven saplings that were growing out of the compost.
Really?
And forbid us from turning that compost or disturbing it. So we had those treated this spring as well. Those died very quick, within 2 weeks. So we were able to then return our compost. It was inspected, well, I got the inspection letter late last week for this year, and we met all the requirements and we're good. But the forestry around our active composting site is full of tree of heaven. So that has been treated, because they're so big and there's so many of them, they did a ground application as opposed to an injection. So the ground application will likely kill most of the trees in that cluster, but most of the trees are tree of heaven. But that has to be absorbed up through the root system and could take a little bit longer, but just wanted to update you that we're actively working on that.
Got your compost out there that we've been picking up out there by Memorial Drive there.
Yep.
Does that have some spores from the tree of heaven in it?
I couldn't tell. If it did, they probably would have sprouted already.
That's just a joke, don't worry, I don't care if it does, we'll watch for it.
Yeah.
There'll be more challenges for us.
Okay, if there's nothing, could we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Peter, second?
I will second it.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you very much. David,
Yes.
you get a little